Well, good morning, everyone. Welcome to our Monday morning trading room. Took me a second there. Hold on. Got to find the screen share button. Here we go. I hope everyone had an enjoyable weekend. Mine was very nice. Thank you. All right. Well, here let's start the day here by looking at our daily NASDAQ chart. After a little more than a week and a half of a very, very quiet sideways market, we are opening today with a rather substantial upside gap. It doesn't look like a gap here because this bar actually incorporating some of the early morning and Sunday night trading, but we did leave off yet on Friday at around 70.88, 89. And right now we are trading at 71.50, 51.52. So that's a big gap. That's a really big gap. At least big compared to what we have been seeing. And it's putting some serious bullishness into the market. Of course, we do have 7,200 just above us here, and you can see what happened last time the market got near 7,200. They got squashed. Whenever you see these doji style bars, that's always a bit of a heads up. You want to pay attention to those. Doji bad or potentially bad. All right. So the market's just opening. We can take a look here at our Eagle. We do have our first in sync Eagle signal right here, printing right now. Trade forecaster saying, hey, we're in trend mode for about 3/4 of an hour. And you can see, actually, it doesn't look that bad at the gap on here, but it is. Like I say, from where the market left off, the overnight, a little bit quiet, and then this was Sunday, and then early Monday, boom, up she goes. So definitely a bullish spark to start the week. But like I said, it's early. The market's just opening up. We're only about 3 or 4 minutes in. And I'm going to attempt to be a little bit more selective here. As we try to figure out which way the market could be leaning today. Those opening gaps, you could consider them like one great big bull bar. So, like I said, that does make the day more bullish. But there is a tendency for gaps to fill. And that usually puts the brakes on. All right, so your first in sync Eagle signal, making a little bit of progress. By the way, you can do the same kind of trade on the Raptor or the Falcon. You're just looking for your first signal that is in sync. It would have come right here. In sync meaning we have a bullish band. Our clouds are stacked in a bullish fashion. So we're going to look for the first buy signal, that occurring right here just about a minute after this morning's open. And it looks like we would have found our high probability profit target anyway. I'm going to wait it out, although, there have been, like I said, some opportunities here to start. We got a little bit of a pullback now in the Hawk and the Falcon, which if you wanted to do a second push type entry, that's your place where you're going to enter above. So the weather finally getting a little bit more seasonal here after we get our snowfall of the decade this year. We got about 4 feet of snow in 2 days. And it's that very wet, heavy kind of snow. But temperatures back in their seasonal range, so all we need is a good dose of rain and it'll make short work of all that snow. All right, a little bit more bearishness coming in. I'm not going to say that we're going to see a reversal yet. I would like to see a test of the extreme before I consider trying to get short. But we are going to, well, we did produce a counter trend signal here in the Raptor. There's your number 2 signal. You can tell by the highlight. All right, the Falcon band already turning over, so the Falcon trend line getting a little bit more bearish. We did have a 4-arrow consolidation here in the Hawk, so the Hawk not given up yet on the buyers. All right, here we go. What time is it? It's still early, but here's an opportunity for you. Oop, they just snuck past me. Essentially a hard edge bounce. A couple of ticks short of that first hard edge, but that's what it is. It's still a hard edge bounce. It's okay to, catch them visually as well. So here's a hard edge bounce. You can see we're kind of in sync across the board. Big blue filter, the Bollinger Band Suite, bullish as well. I would expect this to get up there a little bit more. There we go. And we would have found our profit objective. Hooray. So unfortunately, just a little bit late to the dance on that one. I have to admit, I know I've been featuring the Bollinger Band Suite here since, well, since the other Friday that I played with it. I do like it as a confirmation tool. If you have the patience to wait, again, counter trend signals always difficult, but the Bollinger Band Suite does alert you to the better counter trend signals. But the idea is that when the indicator is outside the Bollinger Bands, that's when the market's going to be more likely to trend. And when you have a very obvious trend in your chart, as we do here with the Raptor, when you get a signal coinciding with the Bollinger Bands, it just tends to have that little added bit of reliability to it, at least, again, enough to find your high probability profit objective. And the same is true, here on the Hawk. So here's our 4-arrow consolidation. You may have been hemming and hawing on it. Should I take it? Shouldn't I? And Bollinger Bands kind of confirm it right here. This is the arrow associated with the Bollinger Band suite. Okay, you gave up a few ticks to get in, but still, your timing. Timing is everything when you're trading. So I'm liking it. And again, the acid test for anything you put on your chart is, does it help you make a decision? Forget about trying to filter out all the bad trades. It ain't going to happen. But if you can make a decision, right or wrong, that's really the challenge in trading. Some of you might not think so, but believe me, I've spoken to enough traders. That's where the challenge is. Yeah, Mark says the same thing. He says, I'm with you. It's a good tool to help confirm a trade. I know Mark happens to use something similar. I don't know his exact settings, but I'm sure they're all pretty close. Nice thing about, while we're waiting here, nice thing about the Bollinger Band suite is it is infinitely tweakable. So you got loads of different ways to play with it. Stochastics are kind of cool. RSI we just looked at last Friday. And then you can adjust all your parameters. So if there's nothing good on TV, you got something to do. You can play with the Bollinger Band suite. All right, another quick little reverse after just breaching that prior high. Looks like the eagle from our first in sync signal. Yes, I think we have found our profit objective on that trade as well. But now we're getting a bit of a turn again. See more yellow bars here on the Hawk. You don't want to see those kinds of things develop too frequently. That kind of makes me suspicious of whether the market has anything left in it. Oh, here we go again. Actually, a late filter entry signal now on the Falcon. And we are getting a nice little bounce here off of the secondary resistance line. And we've made a lot of progress here already. Oop, I gotta pull my stop. I keep forgetting that stop order is active as soon as you put it on your chart. So I made a note where it was. I'll pull it out of the way for now. And if we get higher, the Bollinger Band suite should come into sync, and I should see a little bit of confirmation here off of the Falcon signal. Oh, good, it's quarter to the hour. My favorite time of the day to trade. No. No, it's not. All right. So they're fading from the entry point, which is fine. I think I'm going to scrub this trade, however, because we might actually be opening up here for a counter trend signal. A little bit aggressive, but here I go. I'm going to try to short this. I'm going to treat this now as a second push on this sell signal. Now, you're going to notice it did not print as a number 2, but it is a number 2 signal. This is a retest of the high. It did not print as a number 2, probably because it got a little bit higher, or there were a few too many bars between this high and this high. The Raptor programming requires X number of bars and no more to consider it a second push opportunity. But there we go, all the same. Visually, it is still a number 2 signal. You can adjust your Raptor settings. I'll show you how to do that after we get out of this trade. You can adjust the sensitivity of the soft edge sell. That's the number 2 signal. If you wanted to include more signals or to filter out some signals, let's say you didn't want to see some of these print. But like I said before, it's important that you learn to spot the signals apart from the prompts as well. Prompts are there to help guide you and alert you, but it's always important to be able to spot them on your own. So the Bollinger Band Suite here now, bearish as well, kind of confirming what we're looking at. A little bit of a pushback because we've encountered the hard edge. That is to be expected. And now the next couple of bars will be muy importante. If I can get a couple of bearish bars, I'm going to be a little bit quicker with my stop. Right now, this is really the best placement for my stop. Great question here from Paul. Paul's asking about the trade forecaster. Paul asks, is the trade forecaster based on the time of day or other data like price action? The trade forecaster actually works very similar to the way the weatherman or woman predicts the weather. And by that, I mean what a meteorologist tries to forecast what the weather will be. They look back in history and they look at things like barometric pressure and humidity and cloud formations and wind speed and a whole host of other criteria. And then they will say, okay, the last time we had these conditions present, this is what the weather did. Well, the trade forecaster works much in the same way. It takes the last, I believe it's 25 days of data, and it analyzes it, and it says, okay, the last time these market conditions were present, this is what happened in the marketplace. It was more trend or swing or scalp. So it actually looks back in the recent history of the chart, the last month's worth of trading activity, and then we'll say, okay, this is what happened over the last month. These conditions were present, and then the market was more in trend mode or swing mode or scalp mode. So yeah, it's a pretty cool tool in that respect, and looks like I missed my opportunity here to roll my stops as they just came up a tick short of my profit target, the stinkers. Yeah, Paul says it seems pretty useful. It is, like all tools, they are tools. You still need to think a little bit. Typically, what happens in trend mode is the pullbacks will be less frequent and less pronounced. And usually, you will see a nice progression. Scalp mode, the market will usually have more frequent pullbacks, and they'll tend to be a little bit deeper, a little bit more pronounced. And then swing mode is more of a transitionary period. I'm going to take this opportunity now to roll my stops. And swing mode, if you're going from trend to swing, as we are here, we're going from trend to swing mode. That tells me that the market is probably going to become a little bit more volatile. We're going to see more frequent swings. They're going to start to get a little bit deeper. So what that means is, whereas when the market was in trend mode, I could probably run out a profit target. I could probably get by with a slightly tighter stop. Now that we're moving into swing mode, I should probably think about maybe putting a profit order in instead of trying to run the profit out. I may need to leave a slightly larger stop to accommodate the increase in volatility. And then scalp mode, of course, would be even more pronounced. It would suggest that, hey, take profit when you have it. Run a bigger stop because there's going to be increased volatility. The market's going to swing against you more frequently. You don't want to get stopped out prematurely. So yes, it can be very helpful for gauging the market environment and the best way for you to maximize what the market is prepared to give you. And that, of course, is always the name of the game. And speaking of which, that was a very nice little start to our day. And, as I've mentioned before, if my objective was to make $100 per day per contract, I've just met my goal. And here we are, less than a half an hour into the day. It may not seem like a lot, $100 a day, but don't forget that there's 200 trading days in a year. That's $20,000 if you can do it day in, day out. $20,000, nice little, buy you a really nice little vacation, maybe an extra toy or two for around the house. But the real money comes when you start leveraging, when you build your account. If nothing else, say you're trading a small account, you're trading, say, a $10,000 account, or even a $5,000 account, and you start becoming consistently profitable, all of a sudden that $10,000 account after a year is a $30,000 account. Well, now Instead of trading single contracts, you can start to trade 2 contracts, maybe even 3. So that $20,000 account with single contracts has now all of a sudden become a $40,000 or even a $60,000 account. So whereas you started with $10,000, conceivably in a couple of years, you could run that up to a $60,000, $70,000, $80,000, $90,000 account in a couple of years. All from having a very modest profit objective, all from not over trading. Yeah, Mark nails it here. He says, and that's how you launch a trading business. Absolutely. I call it the best kept secret on Wall Street, because people come to trading with a production line mentality. And you know what? It's fair, because, hey, the chances are you're coming into the trading from the brick and mortar world, for lack of a better expression. Your money is based on production, whether you're a doctor, a lawyer, a carpenter, or an electrician, it doesn't matter. You only make money by doing more. Well, welcome to the world of trading, where you get paid for doing less. And that's what throws a lot of people. Yeah, like Mark says, sure beats playing Army. I bet. It's a lot easier on the knees. You can still do push-ups if you want. Hey, how about this, folks? For every losing trade you take, you got to drop and do 50 push-ups. There you go. I'll be your drill sergeant. Drop and give me 50. That'll learn you. That'll learn you for taking a bad trade. Mark says, I do push-ups after every winning trade. You're doing it wrong, Mark. Now that you're retired, you're supposed to get flabby like the rest of us. All right. Well, it looks like we're going to try to get into that gap a little bit anyway. We're starting to see the market turn over, the hawk already full on bearish, as is the falcon, the raptor, making that move now, starting to turn over a little bit. Clouds not quite in sync, but pretty darn close. And then, of course, the eagle making its transition. When the trading band here on the eagle and the raptor flip over, you should anticipate a little bit of a pullback. I like it. Mark's comment here. But with all those late filter entries, I'd never get in shape if I waited for losing trades. Yeah, that's right. All right, I wouldn't mind seeing a little bit more of a test of the extreme. Here on the Eagle, we did have this one here, which is not a bad one, but I would not be surprised to see a little bit more of a pushback. After all, look at what the buyers did since the wee hours. And certainly from about an hour before the open, they put in a pretty strong rally. So we'll see what they got going on. We're sitting here back at this resistance line, 71.45.5, in that very familiar 71.50 zone. No, not quite ready yet. Oh, we got a green dot here on the eagle. Is this going to turn into a red bar buy? A late red bar buy? Just looking here at the Falcon, we're actually a little bit bullish according to the Bollinger Bands, but we're producing a late filter entry here to short. So a little bit of conflict. Oh, there we go. Look at that. I hate those fast little moves. Those quick little blips, they show a void in the market. Okay, don't have the red bar buy yet in the Eagle, but I would be tempted to do one. Just like I said, maybe holding out for a little better test at the extreme. Am I going to get a number 2 signal here on the Raptor? No. It's running away on me a bit. Might get a green bar sell here in the Hawk that we could buy. Okay, now we have the red bar buy. Now, it's not textbook. The band already turning over. Okay, I'm going to throw the order in now on the red bar buy. we'll see whether we get a bigger retest now of this high. Oh, no, they're starting to move away from it. All right. They didn't complete. I'm going to close this order because what I do not want to see is I don't want to see this little waffling. Bull bar, bear bar, bull bar, bear bar. What has a tendency to happen is you'll get filled by a tick and then the market will reverse. Compare that, the alternating bar, to something like this where you get at least a couple of bearish bars. Note how much more solid that would be as a second push opportunity. All right, let's throw that back on the shelf for now. I do believe we might be in a bit of a transition period. We'll see. We'll see if they turn lower again here off of the hard edge. That might give the opportunity for a number 3 signal to short a hard edge bounce. Okay, we'll see whether that was a good call on my part or not. This is that bar that would have brought me in now. You see how it just went a tick or two higher? Okay, we'll see whether I flinched too early or whether or not that was a good call. You know, one nice thing about trading is if you miss an opportunity, okay, there's always another one coming. Go grab a coffee, come back, watch the market a little bit longer. You'll probably get another chance. Okay. Well, the Falcon bullish, the Hawk bullish, the Eagle kind of neutral, really. I was going to say moderately bullish, but really it's kind of neutral. What has my eye right now is this formation that we're seeing a little bit of a bear flag? In which case I'll be looking for a bearish break. And I'll leave the trend line on there just to confirm it. Oh, maybe I should have stuck with plan A. Well, certainly the hawk following through on the first micro macro cross signal, which would be this one right here. Nice thing about the hawk, it doesn't ask too much out of the market. You get in, you get out. Oh, now we've actually got a number one signal to buy here on the Raptor, so yeah, it looks like I was a little too cautious. Darn it. Paul is asking, other Paul is asking, is that MACD on your charts? It is the Bollinger Band Suite. Oops, come on now. The Bollinger Band Suite here from Indicator Warehouse. And yeah, the current calculation mode is using the MACD, but there's a whole host of rate of change, CCI, awesome oscillator, TSI, RSI, stochastics. There's a whole lot of different settings you can tweak. But as I mentioned, the thing that I like about it is that it's kind of gives you a better idea of when the market is actually getting some momentum because it needs to get outside of the Bollingers. And had I gone with it, the trade would have worked out very nicely here on the Eagle. I pulled the pin too quick on it. The Bollingers were in sync down here. I was considering this red bar buy signal, which was a little bit late. The band was starting to turn, but a red bar buy signal nonetheless. And I'm not quite at my high probability target yet, but certainly still a profitable trade. Yeah, I featured it a couple of Fridays ago in our Rabbit Hole Friday session, and I liked it so much that I've thrown it on the chart. Oh well, not the last trade I'm going to miss. I'm sure of that. Very strong pushback from the buyers. Would have hit the high probability target on the Eagle now, and we're seeing another big retest of the recent high. Oh well. Like I said, not the last one I'm going to miss. So what I'd be looking for now is confirmation that these recent highs are going to hold, and that the market is going to try to potentially reverse and head lower. Okay. It's not going to print as a number 2 signal, but that's kind of the way we're shaping up. The Falcon just giving us a hint that maybe we're going to see a trend change here. Yeah, Ray's asking. Ray says, I could not find the recording for Fridays in the last 3 weeks. Are they getting any closer to solving the problem on the recording issue? I sure hope so. They are recorded. We're just having a glitch with our YouTube account. It's a little embarrassing to say, but we can't get access to the account. There were too many fingers, too many cooks spoiling the broth. We don't know which password to use. We've had to Not that you guys care, but we had reason to change some of the passwords, and now all of a sudden I'm getting emails from the lady who's uploading our YouTube account. Did you change the password? No, I didn't, but maybe Adam and the marketing guy changed it and forgot to tell me. So yes, I do believe we have it worked out, so you can look for those videos, hopefully very shortly. All right, here is a red bar buy on the hawk after a very dramatic pullback, kind of adding a little bit of oomph to this rather big test of the extreme. This is not quite a rule of three signal, but we do have the components of a rule of three, namely the signal against the trading band. Well, first off, a trend, the signal against the band, and of course the test of the extreme, the all-important test of the extreme. Can't do anything reversal-wise without that. Yeah, Ray's asking, I'm interested in your Bollinger Band settings. It's almost the defaults. All I did was speed up the Bollinger Band. By default, Bollinger Bands are usually, I believe, 20 periods and standard deviation of 2, but I sped it up a little bit. Other than that, it's the defaults. That's the only change I made. And speaking of which, you can see the Bollinger Band suite definitely turning bearish. Not quite yet on the Eagle, but it is making that transition. It's in the neutral zone. Neutral to slightly bearish. You can see those dots printing have a reddish hue. I would like to see a little bit of a bounce here. This would be ideal. If we got a little bit of a bounce and another failure, that would be enough to complete a rule of 3 counter trend signal. And I think I would get all over short in that. That's what I would like to see. I think that would make for an ideal setup. Yeah, Ray says, okay, I'll try that. The thing with the Bollinger Band suite is, oh, sorry, I'm just sidetracked here by this first micro macro cross. I'm wondering if I still have time to get on it or if it's going to run away on me. Okay, I'll wait for the hiccup. We're in the hard edge. There should be a hiccup. The thing with the Bollinger Band suite, like the MACD, is pretty tough to beat, I think. And when you adjust settings on your MACD, the mistake a lot of people make is they don't change it enough. And by that, I mean, here are your standard MACD, right? You got a 12, you got a 26, and a 9. So what people will do is they'll say, okay, I like Fibonacci numbers, so I'm going to make it a 21, a 55, and a 13. Well, guess what? Your rate is going to look practically the same because you have not changed the relationship between the numbers. The ratios are still there, more or less. Not exact, but more or less the ratios are still there. If you're going to start playing with your MACD, you gotta change the ratios a bit. So for your fast, you could knock it down to say like a 5. You could bump up your slow to like a 34. Now all of a sudden you've really split the ratio up, right? It's no longer 2 to 1, approximately 2 to 1. Now it's like 4 to 1, 5 to 1. That's going to give you a more pronounced reading. Then you're going to start to see some changes. But again, you know, it's not about tweaking your indicator. It's about making money, and that's where a lot of people get lost. All right, the Falcon now, very bearish. I will take a second push opportunity on that Falcon signal. We should get a number 1 signal coming up here on the Raptor as well, a number 1 signal to short. So with the second push signal, all I'm looking for, because we're back down here at this resistance zone, which has obviously supported the market, I am looking for ideally a couple of bars, a couple of bull bars, and there they are. Look at that. All you got to do is ask for it. So now I'm going to use this bar here as my signal bar. I'm going to enter or look to enter below that bar. All right, I'll throw my order in there. Remember, your exit order is live. So if it looks like the market's going to get close to it, you may want to make note of where it is and pull it out of the way. Right now, the trade's structured to cap my risk at 2.5% of my trading capital, so I don't blow myself up. The Bollinger's going neutral on me here. What's with that? Maybe what I'll do is I'll pull my order just below the resistance zone, and I will stretch my profit target accordingly. Okay, 71.55. Let me get this one out of the way. All right. There is the modified trade. As I'm not sure they're ready to commit yet. We got a little bit of sideways action going on here. Let's see what's going on in the Raptor. Do we have a number 1 signal yet? No, not yet. This is a little bit of a pullback that I told you we can anticipate after the clouds cross. Ooh, the BB suite getting a little bit bullish even at this point. So what I've done by extending my entry is I can be reasonably certain if the market heads lower, my Bollinger Band's suite will be in sync. But if I wanted to be a purist, I could actually wait for the indicator to line up and then just pop in with a market order. That's another way to handle it. All right. The filter, remaining in sync, we are going to produce another sell signal. There we go. Okay, well, here we are, for better for worse. I'm going to bring my stops in and keep your fingers crossed. Come on. All right, you know what? I'm going to be a little bit more aggressive. I'm going to bring my stops in above this swing. Ideally, I want to leave it back here, at least above this swing, kind of halfways between this last move. But honestly, I don't feel like giving them that much move on the trade. All right, got a little traction. I'm going to take this bar now with this big wick to it. I'm going to cover above there. Take a couple extra dollars off the table. The BB Suite in sync now. Hooray. If it goes out of sync again, you see how when it goes sideways like this, that's called a Bollinger Band squeeze. And that tells you that a move is coming. Don't always know which way, but there's a move coming. We're starting to get a bit of a squeeze going on again. We're getting very narrow. And of course, I am anticipating the move to the short side. But it may not be so. And admittedly, I am being a little ultra aggressive on this trade. The better stop still back here, or even 71.50, 55, 56. But like I said, I just don't feel like giving them too much. Scoundrels, get up, get down. This was the low of the morning right here, that little bounce back, and it looks like the buyer's still hanging out there. No! Nuts. All right, well, we'll see here now whether I was too aggressive with my stop on that trade. I do think we're going to see a bearish swing here. Well, maybe that's just me. I feel a little better about taking my stop a little bit early, because had I left my stop at 71.52, I would have been tagged out on that. Still okay with my stop at 71.56. But we'll see how that goes. Yeah, we're starting to get a little conflicted here. The hawk going from a very small bear move now to a slightly more bullish posture. The falcon also taking the bounce off of the support line, the resistance zone right there, 71.45.5. Starting to turn a little bit bullish, at least according to the trading band. The Raptor and Eagle, well, the Eagle pretty neutral right now, and you could put a just in case order to sell down here. The Eagle making a bit of a sideways trading range. That's looking like so. But the Raptor, yeah, see, 71.56. You should have left yourself a proper stop. Yeah, knucklehead. Still be in the trade. If we bounce off of the hard edge here, we're going to produce another number one signal to short, or a number three signal to short. Pretty quiet for a Monday, though. Here on the Eagle, and you're going to see this on the Raptor as well, excuse me, because the Raptor band based on the Eagle, or the Raptor filter, I should say, based on the Eagle, but notice the red blocks relative to the green blocks. So great big green block, substantial red block, smallish green block, offset by an equal size red block, a little bit of a green block. Now we got to see the sellers show up, or the buyers will take the market back. Well, they're putting me to sleep here. Okay, well, here's a surefire way to make the market head lower. Let's take a look at a buying opportunity. All right, so we've got the trend change signal here on the Falcon. Word of caution before I go too far with this. Note we are inside the middle of a trading range. Does make this much more difficult. But we've got the trend change signal. I'd be looking now for a second push. Namely, I'd be looking for that bar that's going to head lower. And that one may be it right there. Okay, so I'm just going to toss that order in anticipation that that will be my reactionary bar. Ideally, I don't want the second push to run too far past my entry point. This is about as far as I would like to see it go. I will leave this order down here as my just in case order to short. And that is based on this trading range that we see here in the Eagle. Even though this didn't break out, this was a test here of the low. So here's the rally point now. If the market fails to rally and continues lower, well, then there's a good chance that if it breaks here, there may be a little bit more follow through. Here we are trading in molasses again. My goodness, they are constipated here this morning. All right, there we go. bring my stop back to the original placement. Well, it's a struggle here this morning. My goodness, we've lost what little momentum we seem to have had. And my timing, obviously, a little bit late here as well. Get up there. Come on, give me a couple of bars. What I'm going to do is I'm also going to shoot a little trend line across here. You know, help them along a little bit. Get up there. Here we go. Give it another little nudge. I don't like manipulating the market this way, but sometimes you just have to. I'll roll my stops a little bit here. Maybe I'll consider this bar with this tail on it. All right, I'm going to chicken out. There we go. Take the trade to break even. As we get closer to this swing high here, the market may try to press back. Ideally, my stop should be below this trend line, maybe below 71.56, below the tail on this bar. But it is getting a little bit late here in the morning, and I just don't feel like giving them too much. Come on. There we go. So I could look at taking profit right here as well. I think what I'll do is I'll just adjust my stops as we get closer to that zone. There we go. Looks like we trapped a few shorts out of their positions. Now they're sellers laying it on. And you know what? I'm going to start rolling bar for bar. Note how we're starting to flinch a little bit as we get closer to that resistance zone. Come on, get up there. You can do it. Oh, well, not a bad trade. Should be enough to offset that earlier loss anyway. The Bollinger Band Suite starting to turn a little bit bearish, so that's my cue to tighten my stops anyhow. Yes, I could have done a little better on that had I gotten in a little earlier, but oh well. Spotted the trade a little bit too late. Worked out okay anyhow. All right, gang. Yeah, I agree. Mark says good trades today. We held our own, given the way the market was kind of waffling a little bit. I was pleased with my patience. Sometimes, I've been doing this for a while, but even so, sometimes you just get a little bit anxious and start over trading, and that's certainly something we want to avoid. Okay, gang, we're going to button up shop here, I think, for the day. If you are going to continue trading today, well, we're right back to the highs of the morning. So we'll have to wait and see whether this is going to make a triple top. What we've got is a really big sideways trading range. So what you want to see is you want to let it break, and then you want to look for the retest. Once it breaks and you see the reverse, you can put your just-in-case order above there. And then if it looks like the retest is going to hold, you can look for a buy opportunity. Otherwise, you can throw your just-in-case order to short below there, and you'll essentially have the market boxed. But don't be surprised if it spends the rest of the session going sideways as well. I don't know if we're waiting on an FOMC report or no, FOMC was last week. Here, before we leave, let's see if there's any reports on the horizon. Yeah, nothing too terribly serious. Okay, consumer confidence tomorrow. Shortly after the open, that could be a big deal. But after that, it looks like it's fairly straightforward. Frank's asking, can you show the link for the reports calendar? Yes, I can certainly do that. I like Forex Factory. They do a good job. We have a link at Indicator Warehouse as well, but honestly, these guys did a good job on it. And what you can do is you can scroll through the days. So here are today's reports. Red ones are the ones you want to pay attention to. Those are kind of the market movers. And tomorrow, consumer confidence at 7 a.m. Pacific, 10 a.m. Eastern. And after that, I know Fed Chair Powell testifies is marked in red, but I don't think that's going to be a market mover. And you can see for the remainder of the week, it's really relatively quiet. All right. Have yourselves a wonderful day. Be careful out there. Like I said, the market's still very range bound, but I think we could anticipate a little bit of a break. And once that happens, then, like I said, you'll have the market cornered and you'll know which way you want to go with it. I shall talk to you again tomorrow. We'll see you then. Bye for now.